It was supposed to just be a wellness check. You know, the kind of thing you do when you're worried. Relatives hadn't heard from the Todt family in weeks, and as the holidays came and went in total silence, their worry it grew into this gnawing dread. What federal agents and local police were about to find inside a rental home in Celebration, Florida, the town that literally built by Disney, would horrify the entire nation.
So on January 13, 2020, after knocking and getting no answer again and again, officers finally had to force their way inside. And the very first thing that hit them wasn't something they saw. It was a smell, a deeply foul, overwhelming odor that just hung heavy in the air. It was a sure sign that something inside was terribly, terribly wrong.
The scene that the officers walked into was, well, it was bizarre from the very first moment. This wasn't just a discovery. It was this deeply unsettling encounter with the only person left alive.
As the police arrived, they actually saw him, the father, Anthony Todd, just standing on his front porch. But the second he saw them, he darted back inside, refusing to answer the door. When officers finally got in, they found him at the top of the stairs, kind of wobbly on his feet, mumbling things they couldn't understand. And when they asked where his family was, he just said that his wife, Megan, was upstairs sleeping.
They called out for Megan, but got no response, so the officers made their way to the master bedroom. And that's where they found them. It was immediately, horribly clear that Megan, her 3 children, Alec, Tyler, and little Zoe, and even the family dog Breezy, had all been dead for quite some time.
The autopsy revealed just the most chilling details. The children were found wrapped up in blankets, with rosaries placed in their little hands. And while there were stab wounds on some of the bodies, that wasn't what killed them. No, the cause of death was homicidal violence from toxic levels of Benadryl. But maybe the most disturbing part? The state of decomposition confirmed they had been dead for weeks. Anthony Todd had been living in that house with the bodies of his wife and his children the whole time.
To even begin to understand this tragedy, you have to understand where it all happened. The Todd family lived in a place that was specifically designed to be a modern-day paradise, a town literally created by the Walt Disney Company.
Celebration, Florida. It was conceived as this master-planned community built right next to the Magic Kingdom. The whole idea was to create an old-fashioned, small-town community feel, a perfect, picturesque town where everything was supposed to be magical.
But that dream, well, it had really started to fade. In recent years, residents were battling leaky roofs, pervasive mold, and even crumbling balconies. The Disney magic was gone, and it just left behind this crumbling facade. It's a tragic, almost perfect metaphor for the Todt family, a beautiful exterior hiding a secret that was rotting from the inside out.
So how did it get to this point? I mean, how could a family of 5 just disappear for weeks without anyone really knowing? The timeline leading up to this discovery is just agonizing. You see, the Todds had this large, close-knit, extended family. They were right in the middle of making holiday plans. Everything seemed totally normal. And then, sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas of 2019, it all just stopped. Calls went straight to voicemail, texts went unanswered, there was only silence.
After weeks of this silence, the family grew frantic. They requested 4 or 5 separate wellness checks, and each time police went to the home, they knocked, but they just left when they got no answer. It wasn't until that day, January 13th, that officers finally forced their way inside.
With Anthony as the only one left, all eyes turned to him. And the story he told investigators, well, it was nothing short of unbelievable.
His official statement was this. He said he came home from a work trip in Connecticut to discover an absolute horror scene. His wife, he claimed, had killed their children and their dog, and then had taken her own life.
According to Anthony, this was all part of a murder-suicide pact, orchestrated entirely by his wife, Megan. He claims she had become deeply depressed, just obsessed with the idea that an apocalypse was coming. He said she believed that they all had to die together to make sure they would be reincarnated into a better life.
He even gave this supposed pact a name. He called it Family Lineage Karma Burning. He claimed it was a concept Megan truly believed in, something influenced by her alternative spiritual views. So, according to his story, this wasn't random violence. Oh no, it was a planned, almost mystical event, designed to save his family's souls through reincarnation. Now, it would be so easy to just dismiss Anthony's story as the desperate lie of a guilty man, right? Except for one single piece of evidence that makes everything so much more complicated.
It was a text message.
sent from Megan's phone to Anthony's sister back in December. It was the very last thing any relative ever heard from her, and the message seemed to back up Anthony's entire story. It read, "The world was ending on December 28th. There's an apocalypse coming."
And that right there is the central, haunting question. Did a mother, truly convinced of an apocalypse, end her family's life? Or did a husband craft an elaborate lie, using his wife's own phone to try and cover his tracks? With only one person left to tell the tale, we're all left to wonder, what horrors truly unfolded inside that house in the so-called happiest town on Earth?